Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Saturday Sports right here on CBN TT Television. We are on every Saturday evening at 8 p.m. where we bring sports to you. And we hope that tonight you will enjoy our program. To all the viewers, a big shout out to you all. Thank you for your support and keep locked on to NCBN TT Television. Tonight we're going to be talking rugby. And you know I always have a heart for rugby. And I know that it's a sport that has grown leaps and bounds. And my guest for tonight is my long-term friend, the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Rugby Football Union, Maria Thomas, and the vice president of Royalians Rugby Club, Wayne Garette. I got it right?
Yes.
Welcome to the studios of NCB and TT Television. It's a pleasure. Madam President, as I told you, you are traveling so much, it's difficult to keep up with you. But then when I see the works of what is happening with the sport, I know that you are doing a good job. I know you don't like to always get, all the little pampering and things. You like to be behind the scenes. But I must congratulate you on what I have seen with rugby over the years, and I've been following rugby
long time,
right?
Yes.
Tell us a bit about what has happened so far in the last couple of months leading up to what is going to be taking place in June month end. What is a quick recap?
All right. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having us here. It's always a pleasure and a great opportunity to speak to a lot of people who follow rugby and hopefully reach some people who will soon become followers of rugby. And in particular, the Trinidad and Tobago Rugby Union, the TTRU. So we'll start the recap, I guess, at 2024 so that we can keep it narrow enough for the time that we have tonight. I believe that we did speak earlier about the Tobago Classic Rugby Tournament. This was a sevens format tournament that took place in Tobago at Shaw Park. So it was excellent, especially off of the back of the Commonwealth Youth Games, to be able to bring rugby to the Shaw Park location again and to continue that momentum in Tobago in particular with rugby. Having a junior tournament was amazing and has really put a lot of energy into even our schools programs.
Especially with it happening in Tobago, how was the support like?
The support in Tobago is absolutely phenomenal. Very exciting is also the Tobago Sand Slam Rugby Beach Fest, and I love the name Sand Slam. And that is happening the 31st, Friday the 31st of May and Saturday the 1st of June. That is happening at the Corlin Beach Sports Arena. And this is, again, continuing the momentum of rugby in Tobago specifically, where there has been incredible support. This is a new, well, not new, but a different format of rugby than the sevens, which was played at Shaw Park. As in the name, it's beach rugby.
Was it something similar to what we held a couple of years back up in Miaro?
Yes.
Right, I think it was BNA. I can't remember who was the sponsor, but they had it on.
Yes, we had beach rugby in Miaro before. We've also had it at Las Cuevas before, which actually Royalians was the host of that beach rugby tournament. And so this is a format where it's played 5-on-5 on the beach in the sand, and it's wonderful that we have the new and shiny Corlin Beach Sports Arena to be the venue. And of course, there'll be the full contact version of the beach rugby for some of the senior teams that will be playing and teams who have had experience with contact. And there will also be a tag format of the beach rugby game, encouraging the schools to come out and play. And also it is the perfect introduction to rugby. So for anyone who is interested to go and watch, it's the long weekend. Lots of things to be doing, lots of things to occupy your time. But if you are in Tobago, come on through to the Corlin Beach Sports Arena. And if you're interested in trying out rugby, we are having the non-contact format. The Tobago Rugby Football Club has been doing a lot of work to reach particularly more people in the communities and schools in Tobago. We're excited for a successful event.
Is it an age group or for that weekend? What sort of
So the categories are the senior men, senior women. There's an age grade competition, and of course, the non-contact can be played across age grades. Men and women can play together, boys and girls. So it will be a very inclusive event.
Okay. Well, I know I'll get back to you, but I don't want to keep Wayne, like we're not entertaining him. Tell us a bit. I know you're the vice president of Royalians, right? Tell us a bit about Royalians and what the viewers need to know about the club.
Royalians RFC. I would like to think of Royalians as a family. When I started rugby, I started under QRC, which is under Royalians as well, and I've been with Royalians ever since. That'll be 2016. Coach played from under 18, under 19, captain the QRC team, captain the under 19 team. We won the Sevens League. Then came up under Carlton Felix, under the senior team, and he was my coach until this year, which is now, the team is now coached by Felicia and Guerra. Yeah.
Okay. And you have made national teams already?
Yes, I've made national under 18 and the national sevens team.
That number now under 18 is a long time ago.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All caps count.
Yeah. Well, tell us a bit about what drove you into the sport of rugby. Who was the motivator there to get you involved in the sport?
The motivator would be my friend David Harvey. Currently isn't playing with Royalians anymore. He transferred clubs to another club. But yeah, he got me into rugby and I've continued ever since. Honestly, when I started playing rugby, I was nowhere close to looking like an athlete, moving like an athlete. That was all give thanks to Quanish John, who is actually a world educator for world rugby right now, and Felicia and Guerra. I would say they made me into the athlete who I am right now. And side note, I would add that I'm also on the national bobsled team.
Huh?
Yeah. And
so the bobsled team?
Yeah.
What are they slide on mountain? Where the snow?
So most times we train, they fly us out to train.
Okay.
So last year was just from November last season, they flew us out to Bath, and then we went to competition in Norway.
Alright.
So yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, I'll say all my elected ability came from rugby, because it wasn't gym, anything like that. It's purely rugby.
Because actually, before I met Maria, I always thought that rugby was this big, huge. Because really and truly, in the early part of rugby, you seldom see slim people.
That's true.
Right? In the early years, I used to watch rugby. You see these big, strong, you understand? And then when I realized, when I met Maria and Nicolette Panto and Jack, I said, wait a minute, they're playing rugby.
Yes,
but then when I got involved now, I started to learn more about the game. I realized it's not about brute strength, right? It's about craftiness and, getting away from your opponent, on
the pitch.
On the pitch. Yeah. Maria, how has I know the last time you spoke about the project in schools with the ambassadors that came in. How was that? How successful that was?
All right, so jumping back into the recap then, it has been very successful. Schools Union has completed their official league for 2024. However, because of the interest that it was generated, we are actually going to be having primary schools participating, and the schools league continues to participate alongside the opening 15s tournament. On Saturday, the 18th of, what month are we in? May? There was the San Juan Schools Tournament, which was a non-contact tournament, and it was very well attended by a number of schools. So that's showing the continuity even outside of the technical schools league, that the teams are continuing to practice, continuing to train, and continuing to improve their skills. That competition was won by Silvo's Rugby Academy, and that is a club out of Marabella, and
Silverton.
Yes. And in our most recent AGM that just passed, in addition to having our election and welcoming Kenesha Vincent as our new vice president.
I saw that, yeah.
The Silvos Rugby Club is now also an official member of the TTRU. And so we're continuing to show our growth, particularly in the youth categories.
When can we see the schools coming together with something like the intercol football, you know, in something like intercol rugby, where we have, you know, or is that happening already?
So following the schools league, there has been a report, and we are going to be meeting with the schools union to map out how we can capitalize on the continuity that we're seeing a demand for, and that may well be something that comes out of those discussions.
Yeah, because when I listen to you and you talk much about what's happening in schools, I think it's nice to have that excitement, because intercol football is a different football to the league football. It brings on more excitement. So I guess if the rugby can have something like that where they have, you know, it should be better.
It's also critical for the TTRU and how we move forward and improve our national programs that we have youth playing the sport. Just to go back to what you were saying around coming in and becoming an athlete through rugby, those skills and those basically physical literacy skills are so important to be successful at the national level programs that we have and a senior level. And the skills are also transferable. So yes, of course we want everyone to stick with rugby and stay with rugby, but it is a skill set that is going to continue to help you in every area of life.
What about new initiatives? Do you have any new initiatives that you're has already implemented or going to?
Well, so jumping back to our recap, we hosted the Rugby Americas North Training and Education Week from the 7th to the 18th of March. So there was so much to do that it actually was more than a week. Still got week in the name though. And it was excellent because this was actually where Rugby Americas North was looking to train educators and trainers. So we were able to host people from other unions in the region, and they were training in areas of officiating, coaching, medical, and leadership and management. So there were 4 different disciplines, and of course part of their training is delivering the entry level and secondary levels of courses. So that obviously benefited our community because it meant that in addition to the international and local people who were upskilling, that we could also include a lot of members of our community who wanted to, whether it's the level 1 or the level 2 in any of those divisions, that they're able to access that as well. Okay.
I know we have to take a break shortly, but Wayne, what can you tell us about the Royals? What, you know, I know each rugby club, you know, have separate things going on and, you know, different events and things like that. What are some of the events that your club, you know, puts on during the calendar year for rugby?
For the year, Royals, so we do a Royals Men Can Cook. That's one of our biggest events where the men cook. And yeah, that's one of our biggest fundraisers. Are
you going to have karaoke again? I remember singing karaoke at Royals.
We are hoping to.
Yeah. But what about like success, you know, over the years? You know, what's your achievement in the sport?
So that
I know Harvard.
You might have to address that after the break because he's got a lot to say there.
Because I know Harvard is a big name in rugby. You understand? But I know Royals, you know, you just hear the name calling, you know, but sometimes that isn't telling you the whole true, you know, story about it.
So I think we will save that one for when I touch on Ruggarama. Like it's a
okay.
When
we come back, we're going to touch on Ruggarama, so you'll have the opportunity to discuss what we want to discuss. Maria, we have about a minute. Anything you want to chip in before we take a break?
A minute? Well, we could try to get through the recap because you know there's always a lot there.
Yeah.
We can speak a little bit more when we talk about the 15s programs, but we were very happy to welcome the USA South Panthers women's 15s team earlier this year, and we had 2 full 80-minute 15s matches. We've also hosted Guyana for the first of a home and away series. in the men's 15s. And we are collaborating with the TTOC/TTCGA, Olympic Committee and Commonwealth Games Association of Trinidad and Tobago, as far as making sure that we are represented in their athletes commission and also in their safeguarding that is coming out and supporting all of sport in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, I know safeguarding is playing a major impact on sports now, in football, everything. You must have this thing. Well, I think that we can take a break now, and when we come back, we will get into the rubber section of this topic. Viewers, you are viewing Saturday Sports on NCBN television. We'll be right back after this short break. Right, so
I'm Steve David, and I'm your host. Today I talk football as usual, and I have with me Linda Bramble, welcome to the segment. Michael Raghunath, welcome to the set. Instead George Jefferson, George Anthony Clark, welcome to the set. That's Dwight DeLeon. The president of the SSFL, Mariri Gonzalez. Mariri, welcome to the set. Leroy DeLeon, welcome to the set, Leroy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in every Tuesday night, and NCBNTT, thanks for the opportunity.
Hi, I am Nigel Coutier.
Hi, and I'm Jovan Paulette.
We are coming to a community near you. We're going to speak community talk. We want to hear your issues, your concerns, or what will improve your community.
Look out for us. We'll be coming soon, Nigel and myself, to your community to hear in whatever way we can do to improve your environment, be it employment, infrastructure, anything to improve your living as well as our own.
Community talk coming soon.
Change on TV to the sound, boy, better stay calm, be cool.
I think the opportunity to play against Colombia is massive for the improvement of the development of the rugby in Trinidad and Tobago. We have a strong campaign that we've been working on that has been improving over the years. I think as we continue to work, obviously there's a lot of changes and hiccups that may happen in the system or of stuff that we may want to work on gameplay and health-wise for the athletes and stuff all. I think this opportunity will raise the bar a bit again for the ladies, especially coming off of the 2 games versus USA South. We have showed some massive improvement from last year run. At that game we had 7 debutants, which just kept widening and deepening the depth of the players that we have available. Going to Colombia, there will be 5 more debutants, because it's so competitive in training and the stuff that we want to work on, that it's getting more and more tough every time to select a team. That it's so easy for opportunities for other athletes to come through and still maintain the same high standard and quality of play that we've been working on. Going to Colombia will be very interesting. trying to tweak some of the stuff that we did versus USA South, things that we would like to try going in to run. It's interesting to see the changes that how it's going to work and how we're going to adapt in the game with such a great opponent. Colombia is no pushover. Colombia is a world class team, and I keep hearing a lot of people talking about us playing big teams like the US and getting good results. And then we go to Colombia this rounds, and I think like over the years and a period of time, like I think we continue to, I don't want to say not cherish or to value what we have, because we keep forgetting as well that we are a big team as well, and we could compete at a very high level. We've shown it against USA South with with debutants, 7 of them. Uh, I'm not saying that it's going to be an easy task coming up against Colombia, but it's definitely interesting to see the way we'll adapt and the changes we'll make on the pitch. We've been trying a new style, well, same style, but we tweaked a lot of stuff where we're trying to be a bit more explosive, and be a bit more expansive as well, getting the balls into the hands of a danger players a lot earlier and a lot quicker with a bit more time, so they can execute plays and have more time on the ball. So it'll be interesting to see coming up against our powerhouse team. I'm just excited to see the way the ladies will step up and stand up to our class team. I think this will boost us very great as well going into the run tournament. Just give us a bit of momentum to get the cobwebs out. Even though we played 2 games 3 months ago, um, I think it's still interesting to see the way we will come back. Training has been good. Team, the chemistry has been good in the team. It's nothing but love. We work hard for each other every time. So it's just excited to see to see let's take it to the pitch now, and I don't know, have a good time. Uh, Try the stuff that we've been working on, and hopefully we see some shapes, and we'll take what momentums or what decisions are, uh, depending on how things went, the points and stuff that I've been working on for run. We'll see if there's any changes that we'll make in the team and also in the playing style. We're just trying to be more, to give players a bit more freedom to express themselves a bit more, play a bit more expansive, and making big tackles. I think that's something that worked really well for us against USA South, and we definitely look forward to that against Colombia as well. Doubling up on the tackles, and just sharing the opportunity, sharing the workload, taking responsibility, acknowledging and accepting each other's strengths and weaknesses. I think that's how I think we excel right now, because I don't think there's no gap in the team where um, players are, uh, I don't want to say thinking that they're better than each other, but there's a lot of family. We're much more family oriented right now. A lot of players look out for each other on and off the field. So it's interesting to see how how we've progressed from the last 2 games versus USA South against Colombia. So it'll be exciting. The ladies can't wait. So we've been training hard, we've been working hard, and it's be exciting to see. Last year in the run tournament, I think we lost to USA South. We beat them the first game, and then we lost to them in the second game. Um, I think we just pretty much run out of steam. Like um, we up the way we train, the intensity in training. But I think we should still give full credit to USA South to come back and beating us the second time with the adjustments that they've made to capitalize on our weaknesses. Um, and it'll be good to see us out there with debutants, excited to see us play exciting rugby. Run is going to be in 2 months. We're going to come back to the drawing board, and things that didn't work or needs tweaking, we will address them. and maybe stick with or continue progressing on the stuff that we've been working on. Very excited to see us against a powerhouse side like Colombia. I think it's a massive test for us. Um, like I said before, we have a lot of debutants in the side, and we bring back a couple of other players. It just creates a lot of depth and conditioning and competition in the team. Um, so it's excited to see the quality of rugby that we will play, and hopefully we continue to improve and progress.
So you all now joining us, the latecomers. We're talking rugby with the president of Trinidad and Tobago Rugby Football Union, Maria Thomas, and Wayne Garette, vice president of Royalians. Coming straight back to you now. Tell the viewers about this Rugby event.
So Rugby is the start of the season. It's a tournament that opens the rugby season, and it's a cup tournament.
Right. But for the viewers' sake, it's the same rugby, right?
No.
Is this a different name, or is it a different?
It's the same 15s format, but it's 20-minute games.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a tournament style. Same 15s is usually 80 minutes, 40 minutes a half.
Yeah.
So the Rugby is a quick style of rugby, tournament style, 20 minutes a game.
Okay, something like T20 cricket, that fast.
Yeah, fast paced 15s game, 15s format. So yeah.
When will that be?
Rugby is the 18th of May. So Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Where would
it's usually held in the Queen's Park Savannah on one of the club pitches. It will happen to be on Royalians' home pitch.
Home pitch advantage.
So yeah.
The only thing that I have to say about rugby right now, I can't say is the rugby people fault there, but I think they need to do something with the venue in the Savannah where they're playing rugby. Because I find that grass too high.
Oh,
like it never cuts, so, but it's not like it make a difference all because they're playing the same way.
Well, we flow with the seasons. So
Right.
we had an opening game with the Robert Farfan Cup, and that game was played before the rain started to fall. So of course the Savannah grass is not a problem. It's low at that time, but the ground is very hard.
Yeah.
And so we of course asked for a softer ground to play on, and we had loads and loads of rain for Rugby. But fortunately, the rain was not such that it stopped rugby. If there's lightning and things like that, of course, we do have to stop playing. But we were able to complete the Rugby tournament, which is the opening. And as Wayne was saying, we've kind of blended the formats. So as the viewers who have been following already know, the sevens format of the game is very quick with 14-minute games, but only 7 people per team on the pitch at a time. So this one is 20-minute games, the full 15s. However, it allows us to play a tournament format in one day with the 15s format. There are a few benefits to this. One is, of course, player welfare, so that you don't have athletes playing too much rugby in one day, which is a real thing.
Yeah, but how much is too much rugby?
There are actually limits on how much rugby.
Serious?
Yes. Yeah.
Was it limited time you could play how much time, or what is it so physical on the body that you're not allowed to exceed?
Yeah.
Yeah. So through player welfare, that is all regulated. Also, the player loads are regulated as well. So that's how much training you've had access to and how much you've been able to play. So as the opening tournament, what it helps us to do is keep player welfare at the foremost, have all the teams come out, and of course then you find out who does have enough players to field teams for the 15s.
Yeah.
They're returning to play in a shorter format, notwithstanding that it is a tournament format. Each game is a little bit shorter, so it's a bit less wear and tear on athletes, who of course we like to think that they've been training in the off season and have come back at peak performance. However, we make sure that there's a nice little gradual introduction with the Rugby format.
So who won the Rugby competition?
Well, there's the question.
The home team?
Yeah. Royal RC.
Okay. Is this the first year this has been held, or it was there before?
Ooh, I believe that this tournament, we've had a cup dating back to
1975.
I want to say it's 75, and Royalians won in 76.
Yeah.
And that was the last time.
And only played on the same ground too?
The unsure.
The
1976.
trophy doesn't say which ground it was played on. It says the year and the winner. So
No, I was interested in a lottery. I protest, If you win in 76 on the same ground, come back again.
I am sure that someone will look into that now. Thank you,
Yeah.
George.
So as we get into more into the depth of the thing, what can we look forward for the remainder of the year?
Well, we're hoping to just follow suit. Royalians had an excellent showing. They really, really had a great tournament. That was basically said unanimously by other clubs as well. Obviously, you want there to be glory in victory. And when you want to blame different things like, home ground advantage or, sometimes people like to blame the referee or things like that. But it really was a good showing and a deserved win. And of course, it was great to see teams coming out, kind of settling back into the groove and setting us up for success. Having events that are joint, that bring more people together, it really helps us to highlight the rugby in a way that we can, encourage people to support, but in a lot of ways. So as we were on 15s here, I mentioned USA South and Guyana already traveling here. So we had a good start to the year with both of our senior 15s teams getting test matches or test match length games. We hosted in the Hazley Crawford Stadium for the Trinidad and Tobago Guyana game. And it was definitely a game to watch. It was intense. It was back and forth. The teams were well matched, and everyone's hearts were in our throats in the last seconds of the game when we thought we were going to pull ahead. We were 1 point behind Guyana. However, Guyana was successful, and they won the game 24-23. Right now, we are working on the second leg of the match. So in this competition structure,
Over in Guyana.
yes, we have the opportunity to go and win back our pride and hopefully be successful in Guyana. And that game is taking place on the 22nd of June. One of the things I definitely would like to mention is that sometimes within the timeline for our fixtures, even though we have an idea of what fixtures might be, sometimes it is short notice that we can get confirmation to be able to put things in place. And I really want to commend the technical team and inclusive of the players who have committed to making sure that this fixture takes place and are raising funds. They're having some events, so look out for that. Not just the senior men's national team, but also the under-19s, the women's teams. All of our national teams have really been looking at backing themselves, including financially and raising funds to ensure that not only tours can happen, but they can happen in a way that benefits their training process and the goals that they have as a team. And I do have a message from the technical team of the 15s. They really want to thank everyone who has supported, the Guyana match. We had Angostura, we had Blue Waters, Subway, high definition audio and video. So we really had a lot of great support. And not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but that game was brought to the fans who are not in the stadium by 360 TV.
Yeah. So,
yeah, so we're really grateful for all of the support that we're getting, and it means so much to the teams, and it really gives them that energy and drive to continue raising the funds that are required. So look out for tickets and events and ways that you can support. You can always reach out to the union via our social media platforms, or better yet, our email, which is contact@ttrfu.com.
Any new clubs come on board so far?
Yes. So as mentioned, Silvo's Rugby, they've been operating as a youth academy.
With St. Mary's College?
Yes. So while they're separate entities, but there's definitely some support and crossover with the athletes. And it's really wonderful to see that initiative has grown to the point where there is the infrastructure behind it to now be a full member of the TTRU, which means constitution, full executive committee, all of those things that are sometimes a little bit more difficult or less fun for people to do than just come out, show up on the field and play. And that really shows the depth of the growth.
From where you sit, from the time you started playing rugby to now, what are some of the changes that you saw that you really appreciate now that it has come on board? Because you know, sometimes you start here and then you see things, and then the sport has grown.
It indeed has grown massively. So we have a much better referee fraternity, that we'll have games where it's referee, official, second referees on the lines, instead of just having somebody from on the sides, one of the fans run as a touch judge to see if anybody run out. So, and most times they will be mic'd up, so that's really appreciated. They'll be in communication throughout the game. And another huge factor with the national program is the selection committee, who is Kanisha Vincent, also the chairwoman. Yeah. The national selection committee ensures that the players selected for the national team are fair and just.
That is important.
Yeah.
So
it's not favoritism. It's not favoritism from the coaches or anything like that. There are evaluations, there are scouts, and there are every national game it have. There is somebody from the selection committee evaluating the game and evaluating the players at all levels, from under 19 straight up to the senior level.
Cool. There's a problem other sports have right now, and you hear it on the ground. So that's a very good initiative that you all have there.
One of the aspects of that committee is that the direction still comes from the technical teams.
Right.
And that was a challenge that we had in the past, because you'll just get perhaps international standards that are unrealistic for us as a starting point. And to build a team, you need to look at what gaps need to be bridged. How are you going to have a strong team? And there are multiple ways to do that. Of course, there's fitness, there's technical skill, there's team synergy. There are goals for succession planning, for building. There are some tournaments and events that winning takes more priority than other times. And there are certain fixtures where you could say, all right, winning is not the priority right now. We want to develop a certain play, certain tactical things. We want to give some of the athletes who are trying out for the team or are new to the team more game time. Because it's very difficult if you realize you're suddenly called up to the national team and what actual game time did you get? And so that process is something that has been working really well as far as the technical teams identifying what it is they are looking for each specific campaign, and then the selection committee providing the support that is required to put that into a process that we can be accountable for.
And every time we sit and talk, there's a question always come up. How close are you all to getting a home for rugby?
Wow, we just jump in all over here. I there's so much to say. I had to bring my notes. So the home for rugby, it's still definitely a struggle, and it's something that impacts everything that we do. What we have done this year is we're looking at what do we know is available, and working with that rather than holding out to the last moment, hoping that we get something else, and then everything is a rush at the end of the day. So we had actually decided that the Trinidad and Tobago Guyana game was going to have to play in the Savannah. But fortunately, we did get through, and we're very grateful to have had the use of the Hazley Crawford Stadium.
Yeah, because, and they shut down there for you all got it before they closed it? Okay.
Yes. Right. So that was great, and we did whatever juggling was necessary, and we resent out invitations, and it was a wonderful venue. It really helped the atmosphere of the game. And so we're continuing to do that, particularly with our bids, which we're trying to get in and also notify sport and our stakeholders so that we can actually partner effectively, because these international events obviously are great for the country. They're great for tourism. They're great for bringing in funding to, the accommodations and food and catering, things like this. And we have bid for the Sevens tournament. And so that's something that we're excited and hopeful about. It's another opportunity for us to collaborate with our stakeholders here and really show the depth of rugby in the region.
Are you all gaining more sponsors now than before?
Yes. So sponsorship is always, a big ticket item right after the home for rugby. Fortunately, we're having more success with sponsorship, and the the method that we've gone with is really making sure that teams have autonomy so that they can guide what it is that they need. And they can specifically create partnerships that are mutually valuable, right? And that means that a lot of the sponsorship that we're looking for is in smaller packages, where we can say, all right, this is the amount that we need for these specific things, and these are the things that we can provide. So as far as mentioning sponsors, having things on our media that go out, and that community connection. So for example, there are communities that have shown incredible support for the athletes in their community who are a part of the national team training squad. And I believe that this is a more sustainable and dependable way to move forward. Of course, we'd love to have an overall sponsor for the TTRU, but that's a big ask. There's a lot that happens within any given year and many, many moving parts. And we want to make sure that all of our sponsorships are appropriately aligned so that the benefit is mutual.
And you all get support from the Ministry of Sport and the sport company?
Yes. Yeah. So those are major contributors to our competitions. We've added a lot of fixtures, and so there are definitely fixtures that we are having to fund ourselves. And when I say ourselves, that's usually the athletes and the technical teams and parents, hi parents, and of course local community businesses and organizations who are getting up and backing these tours that make our athletes better for when we have the international events, where we have more time and opportunity to put in the appropriate application to sport. And of course, we're also very grateful to Rugby Americas North and World Rugby, who have a standard subsidy that is given for these events. And then we're off to the races, making up the difference.
So you're getting support, but you can do with some more support.
We can always do with some more support. It's incredible the number of opportunities that are available. And we can probably talk about that because we had a big one that popped up just the other week with very short notice. So there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon.
When we come back from this break, we'll touch a bit about that. And I'm not going to let Wayne go without. I need to find out. I asked earlier what are some of the success, but I only get the Ragorama part, but I want to find out a bit more about Royalians over the years. What are the biggest achievements and success in the sport of rugby?
Yeah.
So I guess when we come back from this break, we will continue the conversation. Viewers, will be right back after this short break.
Trinbago Heritage, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on NCBN TT Television Network.
Hi, I am Nigel. Quote Me Today is your daily motivational segment to start your day right. Join me Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. right here on NCBN. Remember, wake up with a smile. Today is your day.
That's why when we festin', we just bet God when we jammin', we just jam down when we drinking, man it's strong rum, hey. Pop a bottle right now when we festin', we just bet God when we jammin', we just jam down when we drinking, man it's strong rum, hey. Pop a bottle, push up your hand.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Saturday Sports on NCBN KT Television. Madam President, I know you have a lot more to say, but time is limited. I know that you have the toured to USA, they toured to Colombia, you know, tell us.
So USA South came here, and actually within, you know, a fairly short period, we played 15s for senior men, under 23 men, and for the women's division. So that was a great accomplishment. And recently we were contacted to provide some competition for Colombia. And this is for the senior women. Colombia is preparing and hopeful to have a spot in the 2025 World Cup. And this is a great opportunity for us to have cross-regional competition. So for the most part, games are played within Rugby Americas North and the unions within our region. There are a limited number of women's 15s teams. Last year, we were able to return to the 15s format. We'd been playing 10s and 12s, and we returned to 15s. That was still a festival format, so similar to what we did in Rugorama, it was shorter matches. This year in Mexico, we will be returning to the test match format, which puts us in the pathway for World Cup qualification. So that is a huge historical achievement that we have, and it's perfect timing for, I mean, obviously both Colombia and Trinidad and Tobago for this match on the 15th of June in Colombia, as preparation, of course, for Colombia as they are hopeful in securing their spot in the World Cup, and for us ahead of our 15s tournament, which will be taking place in Mexico this year, alongside the under 19 men's 15s team.
Okay, so that's what we're looking forward to in the next couple of months.
Yes, we are definitely, all systems are go for these tournaments. The 15s events are major, of course, 15 players. That's 24 athletes who are on the roster for a 15s game to make sure that we have enough subs, etc. So it's a big crew that we are sending both to, three places we're going. So Colombia, Guyana, and Mexico, and all that will be happening within the next 2.5 months.
And sponsorship, plane tickets, everything already been secured?
So we have received subsidy from RAN, which helps us to pay down on tickets.
Okay.
The airline tickets are the biggest thing that needs to be secured because they go up exponentially and very, very quickly. So what ends up happening is the budget that we've submitted
increases over...
Yes, and the increase for sending, you know, roughly 30 people for one team is a lot, right? So we're always looking to be able to raise our own funds. RAN is very supportive in releasing the subsidy early so that we can make sure to pay down on the flight, sorry. But raising our own funds lets us lock in better prices. And
How do you all go about raising your own funds? What sort of, you know, what do you all do to...
So we have concession sales that contribute. We also have a number of, you know, members of the community who actually step up and will say, all right, we'll match concession sales for this and make a donation. As far as training kit and things like that, obviously having the sponsorship, that's a great place to put it on kit for our media stuff. Also, if you know rugby players, we're always trying to wear all our rugby gear that we have. And so it's just regular day-to-day exposure for sponsors if they have signed on to a package that includes kit. What else do we have? We have different sales that happen throughout, whether it's a barbecue or a specific event. So there's always something going on, and we're hopeful to be able to bring everything together in whether it's a sponsorship and funding committee, but something so we can maintain the autonomy of the member clubs, the specific national programs, the schools union, the affiliated bodies, etc., while at the same time being able to provide the support that is required. Sometimes it's not always just a blank template. And that's something that we're working on now. And that is coming off of the same training and education week where leadership and management is one of the courses. So what we're looking at is breaking that into modules that are specific and can be delivered as tools for the groups who have been asking for that type of support.
Okay. Wayne, Correct. But you ain't forget here, you have an opportunity to, how do you want to say, pick up your club.
Yeah.
Tell us about Radiance here, how successful they were over the years, what are some of your biggest achievements in the sport?
I'll start with this quote I always remember. A man is great not because he hasn't failed. A man is great because failure hasn't stopped him.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we had a lot of failures. I wouldn't say failures, we had a lot of close losses over the years. Always a second place, we lose by 1 point, lose by slim margins, and we never had it. We never, the bad mind, the drive.
The killer instinct.
Yeah, we never really had that. Not the full 15. So some have it, some don't have it. So over the years, after a while, after the failures, last season was the closest, the best we ever did. We came second in the knockouts. We were the only team to beat Caribs. They nearly went unbeaten for the entire season. We beat them in the knockout semi-finals, then we lost in the knockout. So that was like a dagger in the heart for the team. But we didn't let that put us down. We didn't let the failure demotivate us. We decided that is our time. And we were never the underdogs, because underdogs are expected to lose. We always the dark horses. We always had a certainty. Every team had that in the back of the mind. We have to play the hardest against Radiance, because if Radiance catch a footing, they'll be over. It's their season, one after the next, after the next. And this season we came out and showed them. We had new inclusions to the team. Everybody came out. I would like to give thanks to 3 persons. Our captain, Wazim Oliver, our current coach, Felicia Nguera, and our previous coach from last season, Carlton Felix. He laid the way for this to happen. He put in the work, he put in the time, he made the sacrifices for us to be where we have to be. And Ragama was something great for us, because as the trophy says, tournament started in 1975, the last time we won was 1976. And the next time we will win is 2025. So yeah, we have the league insights and the knockouts.
So they need to be careful when saying earlier. So we're looking out for 2025.
Yeah, certainly.
Right? Maria, looking back now, since you have become the president of the union, how has the journey been for you?
Very inspiring, particularly when you look, of course, Wayne is speaking about winning in Ruggarama and on the pitch. However, we're seeing the development not only of new clubs, so since then we've onboarded, 4, I think it's 4 new clubs, particularly with youth. And we're also seeing where the clubs and their infrastructure for management, their executive committees, their involvement and interaction between the executive committees and the clubs have really, really, really become something that is elevated and is functioning on a different level. So where it may have been one person that knows what's going on in the club, now the executive committees, they know collectively what's happening and they're communicating that to their members. And so it's making everything much more effective. Of course, there's a lot we still have to do with communication, just to make sure that everyone is getting the messages, but it's definitely much, much improved. And it means that some of the time that's taken on explaining things that you want to take for granted that everyone knows, but they don't, that can be applied to the progress. So developing the subcommittees, which is another area where people are able to get the experience that's necessary to be able to contribute in the ways that they want to. The Training and Education Week, again, that's to make sure that we have people in Trinidad and Tobago, which we do now, to do education, training and education in all of the areas that are offered by World Rugby, so that when any entity is asking for a particular guidance or tool package, I guess, to execute their duties, that it can be provided. And across the board, it's helping. I mean, it's a journey. It's a journey as we onboard new people and as we learn how to work with everyone. But we're definitely going in the right direction, and we have the ability now to make sure that we can provide what is asked for.
But I'm sure that in spite of all that's happening, you still have some challenges in the sport. What are some of the challenges you face right now?
Well, you've picked on the two heavy ones, so we won't reiterate a home for rugby and funding.
Yeah, but besides, the ones that you all that will pop up, ever so often.
The challenges that we really have are being able to get ahead of things so that our preparation time is effective. We're very grateful to have so many opportunities, but as you notice as we're running through this interview, we had a cup happen, we had the season opener, we've got 2 tours going out, 3 if you include the one to Mexico in July. We hosted 2 different countries. We're bidding for the sevens. So, and that doesn't even mention different regional competitions that are happening, like St. Lucia Sevens, which is also coming up in July. The Grenada Sevens, where we had a number of athletes represented. The fact that as much as we are strengthening our technical expertise in Trinidad and Tobago, and a huge benefit of this is that we are able to support the region as well. So now, the same way we have a fixture with Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, there are other fixtures. So, recently Jamaica and Bermuda played, Barbados and St. Vincent played. There was another friendly match that was organized between Cayman Islands and Bermuda. So there are so many fixtures that are happening, and we are having the opportunity to provide the expertise that we have developed in Trinidad and Tobago, and also enhance the connectivity that we have within the region, particularly the Caribbean region.
I know we're coming close to the end of the program, but I know that rugby is not a one-man show, right? You have a great, group of people behind you. So I want to take this opportunity to, speak to them, let people know, your executive, your hardworking executive.
Excellent. Well, yes, absolutely. So the executive, following the AGM, we have a new vice president, Kenesha Vincent, who we've mentioned.
So the president and the vice president is women? Oh, right. Okay, all right. That must be a first in any organization, but congratulations.
Well, let me know if there's prize money involved for that. Kelson Figaro remains as our secretary, Chad Simeon as the treasurer, and we have Kevin Davis as the assistant secretary treasurer. Our secretariat, of course, are just working tirelessly. It's unbelievable the amount of work that they do, particularly with all the letters that need to go out. I mean, things that you don't think about, time off letters, the sponsorship letters, all of the requirements for us to be compliant with all of our stakeholders. There's tons and tons of work that they help with and send messages and remind us that it needs to be done. Also just recognizing the former vice president, Don Sucre, who is still involved in rugby. And that's one of the great things that we're seeing now is people just finding where their passion is and saying, hey, I want to help out. And maybe when you put your hand up to help, the job you get handed needed to be done, but wasn't where you really have your passion. And finding a place to say, no. There is a spot, definitely, and we don't want people to be stressed out about the contributions that they volunteer and even pay to do, right? Because expenses are usually not covered either. And in finding that, and that is helping us as a complete union to elevate in all areas.
Wayne, any closing comments, remarks?
Well, now let's like to thank the management team, the Iranians management team, for working as hard as they have. And then I would like to thank the players for putting in the efforts, making the sacrifices, and they're not like us. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
So, next year,
yes,
we'll make it a double.
Yes.
Right. Maria, what's your closing comments?
Well, just to reiterate the thanks for everyone who is making sure the wheels keep turning. We are experiencing a lot of success. And as that happens, more things are going to come up, more feedback is going to come to the executive committee, and that's a good thing. Any information that we can get about how we can facilitate things that are happening throughout Trinidad and Tobago with rugby. Of course, we need to hear about it, we need to know about it. And we're putting the infrastructure in place, we're continuing to build on that so that we actually can support in different areas. We've had success with particular committees that we've mentioned here today. And once each entity, for lack of a better word, is able to stand on its own feet and function, it means that we can go and then put in the energy that's required to start up another area that needs attention and bridge another gap. And we're in a position where we're able to do that across the board. And of course, to the executive committee and to the secretariat, huge thanks, but that extends to the executive committees of all of our clubs and affiliated bodies, as well as the executive committees in our subcommittees of the TTRU.
Well, I need to say thank you all very much, and I am happy for where the sport of rugby is right now. I must say I did play a little part in the journey, because when we started, I used to do a lot of, when I had my show over the other station, I always push rugby, always push every 2 weeks there's rugby. And I'm glad to see where the sport is now. Sometimes you can sit back, it's like a father with a child. When you see a child grow up now and he's successful, you can say, yes, I was a part of that, And I must make a slight correction. I'm saying football all the time. That's the old name. It's the Trinidad and Tobago Rugby Union now. So please, Madam President, forgive me.
Of course, anytime, George. And
Right?
we're so grateful because this platform is excellent. I know other viewers would see how we're racing through the material. And often you just get a little, a few seconds, 2 minutes here and there. And we're really grateful for this platform where we can give a bit more explanation and answer some of the questions that I know our supporters are asking.
Yes. So again, thank you all very much. It was a pleasure. And I hope that the upcoming tournaments will be just as successful as those that have gone by. Right? And viewers, business people, you know that if you give sponsorship, you get a tax break of 100%. So it's not that you're giving something and getting back. You're giving and you're getting back. So please support the sport of rugby. Right? And what more can I say? It was indeed a pleasure. Thank you all very much, and have a safe journey back home. Viewers, we have come to the end of this edition of Saturday Sports here on NCBN television. Remember, every Saturday at 8 p.m. we look forward to seeing us, and we will look forward to see you as well. So have a blessed week ahead. See you next week. Thank you very much.